Let's kick it off. I'm Steve, and I'm joined by Ash and Uz, and it's been a good few weeks since we spoke, and there's actually been 6 games since us three last did a pod, and during those 6 games there's been 4 wins for United, 1 draw and 1 defeat, and Carrick's record, on top of that, he's got another 2 wins, so he's got 6 wins, 1 draw and 1 defeat. So Uz, come to you first. What are you making of the recent form? A little bit more mixed, I guess?
I'm gonna have to review 6 games now. That's gonna be fun. I think results are good. That's important. If you look at the table, we're third, right? Equal with Villa, who are on a downturn as well. So
Which you always said will give you a shout out. You said Villa are going to regress back to the mean.
Yeah. And Emery doesn't seem to know what to do. I think we've got Villa coming up as well, haven't we? Bit of a bogey team,
this Sunday
for us.
Next game.
I think they've had a few injuries in midfield, so that helps us because that's
a big game. Big game that at Old Trafford, right?
A massive game.
We're level on points, or
level 51.
No,
we've got the
goal
edge on goal difference. But if you look as well,
at
like
home.
Chelsea and Liverpool have had ups and downs. So like we're three ahead of those. So in terms of results, happy. In terms of performances, I think the City game. You're saying that was the last one we spoke. Probably the best performance of this.
Arsenal.
Oh, was it Arsenal?
So
sorry.
City, then Arsenal. So 2 massive wins.
Two big games. I think
Yeah.
the City game, like the best performance of the season, and one of the best performances for a while. Arsenal less so, but solid. And we got what we needed from that game. But then since then, it's been a struggle, but we've managed to pull things out, right? Good opportunities to get those points, and we've got them, and then sort of wind out the sails with the Newcastle game, because that was an opportunity. We've been lucky in some cases, like a lot of red cards for the opposition. I think Spurs, did Everton have a red as well? Can't remember that.
I can't remember. I don't think so. Newcastle, obviously, there was
Newcastle
a red.
had a red as well.
Have we had penalties? Have we had a penalty? Or
got away with Palace red card.
Crystal Palace.
Well, that was Palace. That was a Palace red card, and so we've had a little bit of run of the green, but
Šeško's got some big goals in that run.
Yeah, he's done really well. I think he's been. I thought he was underplayed personally. I was a bit disappointed Carrick didn't play him more, and then but then against Newcastle he did play, and he didn't perform. So we can talk a bit more on the tactical side, but generally positive. But this last result and performance sort of knocked the air out, right, from everything.
Yeah, Ash, how are you seeing these last few games then?
Yeah, fairly similar. Great start, getting the results. I think it's a tricky one in terms of performance, because as United fans, we want performance throughout the 90 minutes. But even if you look at the Premier League generally, this season in particular, there's a lot of drab first halves, 0-0, teams cancelling each other out, and then a goal normally happens, normally for a set piece, just in the league generally, and then things kind of open up. And I think we've been doing that. Actually, the set piece goals and creativity started under Ruben. He openly told us, he's stolen ideas, and it looks like Carrick and the team have, evolved those ideas. And as we kind of touched upon in the last pod we were all together, they've done simple things well in terms of playing a system that everyone in the team is comfortable, putting Bruno back in his best position and natural position. Kobbie Mainoo's back in the team. And yeah, I know I even heard, people say about Kobbie not being that great against Newcastle, but that's going to happen. He's 20. But like you said, Steve, Šeško's been firing in goals, which was not really happening under Ruben. So, yeah, generally, it's all good. Yeah, this is the thing, right? Aston Villa, big game, because that's a game where you can nearly knock out Aston Villa in terms of, like, put them to the floor for the time being and just, build up on that lead. What about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, when I read out the results and I say 4 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat since we last caught up, that's a pretty good record, especially considering like what we were doing earlier in the season. So you have to take it results wise. I think also, like we said, it's the moments that matter. And in the big moment, Shesko delivered on the Stretford end in that Fulham game, 3-2 after throwing away a 2-0 defeat. So that was a big, big goal. Goal at Everton's new ground. Is it Hill Dickinson Stadium? That counter attack, that was just beautiful.
United DNA, right
that
there.
that was probably my favourite goal of Carrick's reign, and there's been some good ones. So like big moments and shaky
Better than
form.
Dorgu's one. Better than Dorgu's. The Tony
As a strike, Dorgu's and Cunha's were better. But
shout out to Shesko's goal at the Olympic Stadium as well. That was a top class finish.
Yeah, great finish. Yeah. So moments. But there's been a quote surfacing. Well, it surfaced for a bit before it got deleted by our old friend Paul Scholes. I don't know if you've seen it, what he said about.
Did he delete it?
He deleted it like the next morning, I think. So it was after the Newcastle game. And on Instagram he put, Michael has definitely got something special about him because United have been crap last 4 games, night. And then he put Tonali love heart. So he's basically saying Carrick's getting results but not playing well. But he's come out today on his pod and said he was saying that as a compliment, basically, that he can get results when playing badly. But I think there was a big backlash and he deleted it. So I don't know why he deleted it. He should have stuck by it if you're going to put that out. Some people think it's unnecessary. I think Patrice Evra gunned him,
There's a lot of misunderstanding though on my part. A lot of the United fan base took offence to it, especially the younger ones, which is fair enough. Maybe I was a bit lucky because I saw some of the clips that were doing the rounds before the game about what he was actually saying, because Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes were actually talking about the next manager. And actually all Scholes was saying was the last few games, as just literally said it, been getting the results, but the performances, they've been okay, here and there, we when we need a moment, we got it. Scholes basically said that, and then essentially said probably what we're going to touch on later, Steve, that if a top class manager is out there though, like for some reason Thomas Tuchel's available or Ancelotti, Enrique, you've massively still got to consider it, because this is a massive job. Like, it's all well interim. And we saw what Ollie did. I think Ollie won first 9, was it, in all competitions, which is stunning for him. Yeah, it was that good, right? And the football was actually really good as well.
Yeah.
But then it, regressed to the mean, and like we crashed it, at the end of that season. But the point being is that I think a lot of people got offended. The other thing is the Tonali thing. He simply was saying he rates Tonali better than Declan Rice. I think he said that in the overlap. So it was. I mean, I didn't think actually Tonali was that good against us, but whatever.
Yeah. Was any reaction to that comment, or do you think it's much ado about nothing, really?
My only reaction would be, and I've said this before, I don't like the United punditry. I think generally they're too negative. They don't back the club enough, in the way the Liverpool's the opposite almost. Put too much pressure on players and the manager. Dean, Scholes, even Neville to an extent. He was very anti-Ruben. It comes in, has one good game, and suddenly everything's brilliant. And it's like, it's a bit they're a bit over emotional. I don't always sort of take them seriously when it comes to United, but a lot of fans do, and that doesn't help.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of clickbait though as well, because if you actually listen to if you listen to the conversation that these guys have, 80-90% of it is non-offensive, but the clickbait stuff, which gets on the YouTube shorts, etc., Twitter, TikTok, Insta, like these guys are all going to, these media companies, they're all going to clip up the stuff which makes headlines, right?
Like us, right?
Yeah, exactly. Steve does exactly the same.
Put the dynamite out there.
As an example, I'd say there's a large section, I don't know if majority, but there is a lot of fans who have questioned the mentality of the players over a number of years. I think that comes from these pundits, right? And I've always said, I don't think there is a mentality. They're trying hard enough, that some of them are just not good enough. The environment's not great. I don't think it was a lack of effort against Newcastle, for example. I just think, because sometimes when you don't get to the ball quick enough, It might be that fast you're not quick enough anyway, like a Cobby, for example. You get played around, or the system isn't working for you. I personally don't like the system. So I think there's another thing. Like a lot of people have been going, oh, it's basically put everyone in their best position. I don't think it has. I don't like Cunha as an Mbumo as sort of wingers. Yeah, I think Cobby's done okay.
Do you want to go back to Ruben? Yeah.
I think 3-4-3 would be better for these players personally, because I don't like. The thing I see with Carrick, he's trying to play through the middle, but the middle is often blocked in the Premier League. There's not enough width in this side, right? With the wing backs,
we don't have the players.
But we used to have, like, Ahmad's not playing. Remember, Steve, we used to have this debate. Oh, if we switch to this system, who's going to drop? And I was like, Ahmad's going to drop, and we need Ahmad. And I don't like this team without Ahmad, because you need players wide to take players on. We don't have that. It's all a bit congested in the middle. It's all a bit like, it's getting Bruno a bit more freedom. I think Bruno's individual numbers should look a lot better. I thought he was doing okay in the central midfield role. Like, he was doing okay. And I think Cunha and Mbumo are better off a bit closer to goal, a bit central, and having Ahmad on the pitch wide. So
I agree with you. It's not perfect, and there's trade-offs with any system, right? But I think the thing I've enjoyed under Carrick is, there hasn't been like much particular like flow or patterns to it, but it's relied on like incisive, quick passing and runners, which like for me, it like kind of reminds me of United, whether it's even the 2000s, right? Just running in behind and like a well-timed pass, like the simples, you could say.
I think we'll see that against Villa because they play a really high line. But some of these games, they're against teams which really block the pitch up.
Yeah,
you need
we've
width.
Struggled more.
You need width. You need you needed Ahmad out there. We missed Dorgu. As much as everyone's like, Dorgu's shit, Dorgu's not good enough, and all, we missed Dorgu.
Well, he was awful under Ruben. He only picked his form up, slightly picked up his form over Christmas, got the goal against Newcastle. Then,
but it's
Ruben
more the width. I mean, like the system, like having someone wide on the
but that's what
line.
I mean. It's personnel as well, right? Dorgu got a ridiculous hamstring injury. Even for the last few games, the build-up, it's been disrupted with Lisandro Martinez out.
He's a big loss.
Big loss. He's been, there were stats, even with the Arsenal game, which is the last one we were all together. I think he passed the ball forward the most out of any single player on the pitch. So I think he's been out since the West Ham game, Steve, maybe?
I think so, yeah.
So that's 3 games. So you're missing another left footer in that sense. Shaw's obviously... He got injured against Palace, I think, and then came off, right?
He came off, but he's played. He played
then
Newcastle, yeah.
Look, regarding Newcastle, I mean, I don't know what you guys thought. Look, we weren't great, but Ramsdale made all the best saves. I know it was speculative shots and stuff like that, but like, we know we're not playing like 8, 9 out of 10 football. We are playing.
Dude, they were down
6
to 10
to
men.
7 out of 10.
It's 11 against 10.
I know, and it's a struggle. Yeah,
that's the thing.
You know, Newcastle
if it was 11,
as well.
I always felt 11 against 11. Newcastle's tough. St James's Park on a midnight game under the lights is hard. Their midfield's
and
also very
Form.
physical. Yeah, the midfield's physical.
Defeats.
But once they went down to 10, I was like, right, this is an opportunity here. And I really felt, again, more width, Ahmad on the pitch would have been better for this team. I do think Kobbie Mainoo's been good, but I do think this team needs Amad Diallo.
He came on 15 minutes before the end, right?
It's not enough. Like, he didn't get enough.
No, that's the point. I mean,
think he needs to start. I actually think...
the subs felt a bit late against Newcastle, a little bit late, the subs.
That's happened a couple times. So I think that might be something that they're trying to figure out. That's
even
fair enough. Ahmad coming on earlier.
Even Sesko coming on in certain games where he was on the bench. Didn't you feel like,
late.
I would have brought him in at half time? There was one game, I think we were 11 against 10 at half time. I'm like, get Sesko straight on. Like, get him on half time, do it. And this is where I always said to you guys, I've always liked Southgate and Holland, but felt that they were not proactive enough. And I don't know if Holland's the right guy to be proactive to get, to make that tactical tweak early enough. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I think he's more a structural coach. I think that's where his good work comes from. Like, you read the Athletic stuff. I've listened to other reporters who are close to United. That's the stuff that they talk about regarding Steve Holland. And I think I mentioned that as well. Like, it's those like team units and the structure. Like,
he's coached the back three as well with Conte and with Southgate. I'd like to see us if the problem is Dorgu's out, so left wing back would be Dallo again. But I think Ahmad needs to play.
And why do we need to change formation for that? Surely he can play.
But then you'd have to drop Sesko.
Yeah. So you could have Ahmed, Sesko, or drop one of Mbeumo or Cunha, right?
Yeah.
Just on the Sesko thing, just quickly. I look, he's obviously got the goals to back it up, especially when coming off the bench. But I actually didn't mind like certain games where, he didn't start, because I think we forget as well, like, we were so lucky to watch Fergie's team in the 90s and noughties. And one thing we always did was we grind teams down. So for 70 minutes, we don't actually create that many chances. But then in the last 20 minutes of a game, that's where a Solskjaer used to come on and get that goal, because there's a little bit more space. The legs of the opposition are a bit tired. That's almost like what I felt Carrick was doing in that kind of like middle period of that 6 games. And then obviously it's gone from a point where he's got to play from the start because he's been that good.
And he brought him in, to be fair. Like, when it was obvious he had to start, he started him. So, like, it is also fine lines, and, like, the results dictate the narrative, right? Because, like we said in those previous games, even the ones we won, like the one against Fulham, you could have said, bring the subs on early. But when you win in the last minute, it's paid off ultimately, right?
This league is very marginal. Like, even for me, having a 3-point lead is like having a 6-point lead.
I told you Wolves are decent. They beat Liverpool. I told you. It's not easy.
2 wins
this
in
league
the last,
is not easy.
In the last few games.
Right, so like we said, though, 6 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat. Like, whatever way you put it, that's a very, very good start, right?
You shake hands on that for sure.
Yeah, of course. And like, this is where it gets interesting now, because the club, they always said Carrick's in till the end of the season and will make a decision at the end of that spell, so in the summer. So that was always what they said from the outset. Given that he's won the 6 games, I don't think there's going to be any change from that. But if you're behind the scenes, right, and this is what we like to do, think about it like how they're thinking and planning, I do think they're backing themselves into a corner a little bit, especially with Tuchel re-signing. I know people are saying that might just be for compensation purposes. Carlo sounds like he's on the verge of re-signing for 4 years, I read. So for them to get signed up, and look, Enrique, I know there's been a bit of talk, but realistically thinking to stay at PSG even for the short term, those are probably the 3 gun names. Then I don't think you're getting any of them now, unless something happens at the World Cup that's unexpected, and you move. But I don't think a club like us can act like that. We have to be more planned and, phased almost. So, especially with the results as well, surely us, like, do you just see this as like Carrick, as long as he delivers top 5 and there's no, mess up there, you think he's pretty much got it, would you say?
I think if he delivers top 5, it would be harsh not to give him the job, because without an outstanding candidate. If you had an outstanding candidate, it doesn't matter, right? You go with the outs, but there isn't an outstanding candidate, is there? Unless you tell
Nagelsmann for you. You're a big fan of his.
I really like Nagelsmann. So if Carrick doesn't make it, he would probably be right up there in my top.
I don't think you can put him in the category with Ancelotti, Tuchel, and Enrique, though. I think those 3 sit in their own top tier category. Yeah. So, but I mean, before we talk about the other names,
I'd probably take. I don't know. Actually, I was going to say I'd take him over Tuchel, just because Tuchel's so combustible.
Yeah, no,
do you know what I mean?
And he's re-signed as well, so you have to take that as face value that he's not available, right? Carlo, from what I read a few weeks ago, it was basically done. So I don't know whether there's
still not signed.
That's what I mean. So, like, as a club, I don't think we can afford to wait until the summer. I know it's going to work out okay, probably, but if it hadn't have worked okay, I don't think that was the best approach. I think you needed to know who your number 1 was and be going for them, like, pretty much
Maybe they
outright to get
do,
them.
but they just haven't made it public or like leaked it. Like
I don't
normal.
think they do because of the way they've handled it with giving Carrick until the summer, allowing Tuchel to re-sign, allowing Carlo to re-sign. Surely
I don't know
they
if
were
it's allowing. You only assumption can be those two managers want to stay in their current position.
And
over
potentially they
Manchester
were never,
United.
and potentially they're not our number one
and they're
choice.
not our number one. Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think
we didn't speak to them, like with enough intent. It might have just been.
That's possible given the history. Like
Yeah,
that's
so
what happened with Pep.
That's what I'm trying to work out. And like I said, it probably will work out because Carrick probably will deliver top 5 and it looks okay. But, or if it does unravel, like what are we doing in the summer? Like the other names, yeah, like you mentioned, Ash, you've got your Nagelsmann. I've heard a lot of talk about De Zerbi this weekend. I think that's his side putting that out probably. I think Sam Wallace mentioned his name. So you've got this next tier of managers. And I think we've said before, me personally, I would take Carrick over that next tier. So I would say as a fan, I would take Carrick over that next tier. I'd only want the elite probably over Carrick. And yeah, any other names that you guys think could get it or excite you?
No, I mean, it's very different to the Ruben discussion.
What are the odds, Steve, for the next Man United manager?
I've not looked at them recently.
I saw my favourite.
Is Gareth Southgate still up there?
Carrick,
from an odds perspective, he might be because he was quite high.
Carrick is like evens basically. I think Southgate is in the top 3 or 4 still. I think Glasner might even be in the top 4 still.
I'd imagine Southgate is still high because he's still available. And if you actually wanted to do it, you can because even things like Steve Holland's in place. But they're not going to do that.
No, I don't think so.
Whereas before, right?
Oh no, this is Tottenham. Thank God for that. I was going to be like,
Pochettino.
Pochettino.
Yeah, Pochettino. Guess you didn't mention Poch.
This can't be right. Number 2 is Robbie Keane.
Wow. I mean, did you? I did read actually. For the interim position, he actually told Spurs, "You either hire me as permanent or not."
Fair.
He didn't want interim.
Who's this?
Robbie Keane.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They should have taken him. Like, it's a bit like Carrick for us. Like, what could go worse? I mean, they only got Tudor in because he's mates with Paratici and, he's kind of like still on the contacts book.
All right, let me give you the odds then. Carrick is 6-5 favourite. This is the odds to be the manager at the first game of next season.
Okay.
Oliver Glasner, 8-1. I'm not a fan of Glasner.
Wow,
I think he's a good manager. I don't think he's a United manager based on the football. Nagelsmann 14-1, who I do like, although he's a bit random. Good dress sense though, could be fun. Derby 16-1, who I also like, but again, a bit combustible, so it would have to work on the transfer thing again. Southgate 20-1, Luis Enrique 20-1, Carlo Ancelotti 22-1, and Pochettino 25-1. And then Iraola as well, Marco Silva, Unai Emery, who I wouldn't want. I don't want these guys. Hertzler. How is Hertzler? I mean, that's a ridiculous idea.
Essentially,
Eddie Howe's only
50-1.
Eddie Howe's only 33-1. That's interesting.
Okay. Essentially, though, it's going to be like Carrick's going to get it if we get.
What about?
Champions League
Didn't
football.
you say you wanted Xavi at one point? He's 33-1.
Is he? Yeah.
Where's Zidane?
Zidane's not even in this list.
I have a feeling it's going to be.
Wayne Rooney's there at 50-1.
Yeah, it's getting silly now. Might as well stick our names.
Patrice Evra on there. 100-1.
Jose Mourinho is equal odds at 80-1 with John O'Shea at 80-1.
John O'Shea.
And Roy Keane.
Oh God.
Robin van Persie 80-1 as well.
Oh yeah, he's a manager now, isn't he, in the Dutch league?
It's got
Ange
Sterling,
at 100-1. Zidane and Cesc are 100-1.
Wow.
100, okay.
I'd take
Fabregas
Cesc over Zidane.
Yeah.
Well, if we're back in the Champions League as well, like that would be obviously nice. But from the manager perspective, do you think you could attract better managers, right? So
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe it's like it's Carrick, or if something goes tits up, they'll consider maybe like De Zerbi and Nagelsmann because they're probably available in the summer. Maybe that's how they'll play it.
The nice thing of Carrick, I'll say this again and again and again, the most important thing is get a recruitment rate and improve the playing squad. And he's the type of guy that will work well with the upstairs. They can bring the players and develop the squad. If it doesn't work out for Carrick over the next 12 months, whoever comes in hopefully comes in with better players. Because I genuinely believe Dorgu, Cunha, Mbumo, Sesko, Lamans. These are good, decent signings that have improved the squad. You want to have a manager that will keep that going. Tuchel will go and want to sign Eric Dyer and some other guy, some other 28-year-old, someone that will allow us to keep developing. Lenny Yoro's been playing a bit more. I really like Aiden Heaven. Why did he bring on bloody Malacia? I mean, honestly,
that was random.
Wasn't Heaven on the bench to play left back?
I think he would have been.
He was on the bench. Found it
random.
I thought it was a wind up, as in, like, I saw him. I was like, this is like a ghost. This is like Eric Ten Hag all over again.
Now, it's just the thing. If this was Ruben Amorim, you'd be going absolutely ballistic.
That's because he made 100 mistakes. Carrick's made very few.
No, but do you know what I mean? It's like that is a full-on blunder.
Again, results business, isn't
but
it?
To be fair, Carrick's been hammered this week, even by United fans. He has. I mean, look, certain circumstances, rightly so. But this was coming. Like,
yeah. But my real point was Aiden Heaven's a good player, and I want to see, like, another Ineos signing. I want to see who was the kid Shea Lacey brought. I really like Lacey. This is the type of thing I want to see.
He's a nice lad. We met him.
Oh, you've met Shea Lacey? He looked really nice good. Kid. He looked really good, and this is what I'm saying is that. Yeah, Carrick might not be the guy who wins you the Premier League, but having 12 months of Carrick might not be a bad thing because he'll help you develop your squad under some bit of calm. Everything I've seen, the thing with Ruben, as much as I can say, intellectually, I don't mind the 3-4-3. It was too much emotion, too much chaos, too much craziness. Carrick's brought the calm. And I've said we need calm. That's why I said Southgate brings some calm. Ancelotti brings some calm. Carrick also brings calm. And 12 months of calm while the managerial market is, churns again, because it will.
It will, yeah.
If the right man, the perfect man, in there for a 3-year deal, you don't need to go out and bust lots of money.
I'm fine with that because, like, you remember when Ollie had his run, Pochettino was available. Me and Steve were big on, like, getting Poch at that time. I think this is totally different because, like, for me, there's no outstanding candidate that's available or seemingly available. I'm fine with that plan in terms of get Carrick, as long as he gets us Champions League, you get him good players as well, not just the smart signings like a Le Mans, but we need to go big this summer. Like Elliot Anderson, if it takes 100 million, just do it because you get Elliot Anderson. That will bolster our midfield like no end. And, this is the problem, right? Like, I've heard other discussions and everyone's doing, Steve, what we always do. It's like, we need 4 or 5 players. It's like every summer it's the same. But we do need some, like, statement signings as well. And as long as they do that, along with, like, the smart signings, like the Le Mans type, then it should be, like, a good platform for next season to get champs again and climb higher in the league.
A similar summer to the summer we just had, but focused in on the midfield, I will take that. That's good.
Yeah. And it should get you about 10 points next season.
If we qualify for the Champions League, we should be able to do that because a lot of players moving on as well. Like Casemiro's the big one, right? Huge wages coming off with him. So there should be an allotted space to bring in 2 good gun midfielders like we brought in, like Cunha and...
Wage-wise, we should be good in the summer. Sancho's coming off the books. I mean, Harry's wages, even if he does extend, they will reduce.
Basically done, I hear, to Barcelona.
Yeah, very close. Yeah.
All right. Højlund's a bit like iffy, right? Because I think Napoli have to qualify.
The obligation, that's not a real obligation.
If they make the top, is it Champions League? It's an obligation.
I think so. Yeah.
So, like, if those work out, you should be able to do the same thing where you go and sign 2 60, 70 million players, and it will make a difference, this team. So I would just say, like, the recruitment is more important to me than anything. The one thing with the manager thing is, though, I would say players do like to know who their manager is because usually part of the recruitment process is, like, you speak to the manager and the manager gives you the vision. And in this case, it'll be more like a Wilcox if we don't have anyone in charge who's providing that vision. Ideally, you settle in on a name and then that player has a choice. But we're still Man United. We can't compete with City.
We'll do what we want.
Well, we won't, because like Semenyo,
Wages.
for example, right? Massive wages. What are they, 350?
300.
300?
Yeah.
Gay as well, right? Similar.
Unbelievable wages.
Gay's agent got a massive fee out of it as well. That was another reason why they did the deal.
Yeah.
But weirdly, on City, is Pep Guardiola going to be there? I mean, their board will already know that.
Yeah, but they'll still we've been working 6 months with him, right? Like, over an unknown somewhere else.
Oh,
like
no,
us.
not about Semenyo, because, why would you join United, like, in our current state? But, like, for the summer, because, like, Elliot Anderson's been discussed as, like, a top target for them as well. If, for example, Pep is going, how do they disclose that, or what do they tell Elliot Anderson? But, it's going to be a tough competition.
I think they're going to offer more money than us. That's the problem.
That's true. Yeah.
So if City want a player, that's an issue. But I'm sure we can, like I said, find one of the pool out there, have a good summer. And I think the most important thing is that if it's Carrick or not Carrick, I think if we can keep improving the playing squad, maybe it's not this summer, maybe it's next summer, to get the manager you think, Steve, who's the elite manager that can go and win the Premier League title.
This podcast is sponsored by Go Play Sports, the brand new mobile app changing the game for grassroots. Whether it's Sunday League or five-a-side, Go Play Sports makes it easy to track attendance, manage teams and cut out the manual admin. No more endless group chats, no more chasing payments, just turn up and play. Go Play Sports. Download now from your app store.
If Carrick delivers Champions League, it's hard to say doesn't deserve it. So I think a few moments ago, as you probably nicely laid out what's on Wilcox's whiteboard, the fact that give him a year, see what happens. I think him, Barada, Ratcliffe, they could do with a year of calm as well, because they've caused quite a storm in the last few weeks since you last came on us. So, I want to hear your reaction to your old mate, Jim, saying the UK's been colonised by immigrants.
Yeah, and I've got nothing to add from everything everyone else has said. I mean, I've always said to you, like, look, all these billionaire types, I wouldn't class Ratcliffe at the highest level of twat, because there is the Epstein class, which is like on another level of a planet of unbelievableness. But he was a Brexiteer, and he said the quiet thing out loud, didn't he? That a lot of these people think, all these Brexiteers, because it wasn't really, let's be honest, it wasn't about freedom or the economy. A lot of it was just immigration and outright racism, let's be honest, right? Xenophobia. Terrible comments. I've nothing to say apart from, he's an idiot.
Fair play. I mean, you done him a favour, because you covered off probably the one part you could maybe give Ineos credit for, is the recruitment has improved a little bit, and that wasn't that hard, you could say, because it was so bad before. But on the other hand, when your owner's coming out and saying this stuff, and absolutely amazingly, or not amazingly, Ash, the silence from a certain Rio Ferdinand and Gary Neville was very alarming, right?
Sorry, who are they again?
You heard from them every hour before Ratcliffe said it and every hour after, but nothing.
Steve,
in reaction.
Are you talking about the guys who've been posting about their skiing holidays, their overlap numbers, front cover of health magazines? You talking about them two?
Yeah,
the two who are on the payroll of Jim Ratcliffe.
I'm talking about the Gary Neville who had no problem calling out Boris Johnson during COVID, during the lockdown. He also decided to call out people holding up Union Jack flags, but he's got nothing to say on the owner of the club he supports belovedly talking about immigration in these terms. I mean,
with racist and xenophobic comments. Interesting. Yeah.
Absolutely disgraceful. And also...
So is Neville on this payroll then? Like, what is the deal?
This is what I was just about to say, right? So when Ineos were kind of coming into the club, I reckon they've done some sort of analysis, right? And they've looked at stakeholders. Who do they need on side? Rio Ferdinand and Gary Neville were on that list, I reckon, because Neville he went
that was
straight onto
reported by the Athletic.
yeah, so reported, and he went straight onto the new stadium committee, right? You know, I know he works in property, so there is like, you know, a reason for him to be there, but they got them on side. Rio and Neville have both done commercial appearances for United since Ineos came in, so they are receiving fees, you know, for that. So they are on the payroll. But Rio Ferdinand as well. This is a guy that's been through racism. His brother experienced racism, and he's not going to say one word about Jim Ratcliffe making these comments. Ash,
what I find stunning about Rio is that he talks about everything openly, like Vinicius Junior's racism that happened a couple of weeks back. Talked about that, but I've seen absolutely nothing regarding these comments from Jim Ratcliffe, and it's really disappointing because you just said it, Steve. Like, these guys talk about these big items normally, and just radio silence. I mean, look, if it's because you're on the payroll, just tell us that, and then we can get on with our lives. But if you're going to then comment on everything else and self-promote everything else that is going on in your world. I mean, funnily enough, I remember when Rio moved to Dubai, he was on LBC talking about taxes and, like, even the welfare state, right? In terms of, like, we don't see, enough bang for buck. So I've seen comments about that. I find it astonishing that someone who's been a modern great for us had nothing to say about this subject.
Maybe he agrees, though.
Maybe
they agree with Ratcliffe, because if they haven't said anything, I'm going to assume they agree with Ratcliffe. Is that a problem?
That's a fair assumption.
I think that's
not true, though. I know for a fact.
Why?
I know for a fact both of them, because their personalities. Like, they come across as like social people. Gary Neville's spoken out against these types of ideologies before. We've seen that. So we know fundamentally they shouldn't agree with it.
Steve, what I find disappointing with Gary is that he's openly talked about racism since he's been a pundit.
Yeah.
And he openly admitted he didn't do enough when Ashley Cole got racially abused at the Bernabeu, I think nearly 20 years ago. So the fact that a comment like this by one of the owners of the club and causes massive division, like, I mean,
the Prime Minister came out and
everyone came out, right?
This is the story that,
and he didn't say anything about it, and it's equivalent to what he said about the Ashley Cole thing, that he didn't say anything. Like, he's a big voice, and he should have come out and said something.
Yeah, and it's like he didn't speak about the Glazers, and then 5 years later admitted he should have
Exactly. He told United fans, like, stop talking about the Glazers. And then as soon as he realised, oh, actually, it is the Glazers, he started piping up as well.
Have Neville and Rio got criticism over this issue?
No, I've not seen much.
Anything.
Yeah, I think they've got away with it in terms of people have noticed it, but no one's really called it out until us now.
I've not seen a single pod or any media outlet to be like, what did Gary Neville or Rio have to say about
these guys?
Jim Ratcliffe's
putting out content on an hourly basis about everything else. That's the thing, right? If they were people that didn't speak normally, okay, fair enough, you can understand it to some degree. But these are people that are paid to give their opinion, create content, and they've just completely swerved it. And it is because they're on the payroll. That's the fact.
And if they'd like to come out and speak up, great.
Yeah.
We'd love to know what your opinions are.
Yeah, come have a chat. We'll speak about it. So yeah, that was very disappointed. We felt, me and you, Ash, and other people as well, just a lot of fans actually felt let down by them that they didn't come and speak out, because these are the two of the biggest voices in the game, us, right? And you spoke about before, like, the negativity they bring on certain topics, but surely this is a topic that you should be trying to unite people, right?
Yeah, they could be a really good, strong voice to,
like the Super League as an example. Yeah.
Yeah, that is disappointing. I don't follow them closely enough anymore.
So
I didn't realise they didn't say anything.
Yeah.
And I would have hoped there would have been criticism of them for not coming out and saying anything.
Yeah, that's what I've not seen, to be honest. But yeah, anyway, we can unpick the reasons. We're not daft, so it's got to be called out, though. Anyway, final topic for today's pod. We love talking about revenue. Ticket price increases, so 5% increase on season ticket holder prices next year. Executive tickets are staying the same price. But to be fair, the context on that is, as an executive season ticket holder, you pay a flat fee no matter how many games there've been. So obviously this season they've had less value for money. So that's kind of the reason that's coming out. But yeah, 5% increases on us. It's not massive. It increases our season ticket by maybe like 60, 70 quid. But yeah, Ash, thoughts on that?
I mean, the general trend is that it's been increasing. I think this is the 4th season in a row. Yeah, I mean, I think the first increase, I do remember when United came out and actually, and this is under the Glazers, they did come out and say, look, inflation's gone through the roof, operating costs of the stadium. I think we had 10 years of price freezes within season tickets. We won't talk about what the Glazers did initially when they first joined the club. But yeah, I mean, I guess you would have expected it. I think what I find insulting by Ineos is some of the communication and reasonings that they've mentioned on their email about a 5% increase, and that will be reinvested into the team. It's like, do me a favor, don't try to kind of like blag the fans. Like, if you want to increase them, that's fine. But just come up with some half decent reasons, even like the Glazers did. Just say like, costs have gone up. Like, you don't need to insult us and say that this is going to be reinvested into the team. If anything, I'd like my 5% reinvested to the players charity, ex-players charity of the 40,000 that they ripped, from that group. So yeah, I mean, it is to be expected. The two concerns that I would have going forward on the season ticket side, I fear that this is going to be an annual trend. We'll see next year, because hopefully we'll have Champions League money to cover up some of it. And the second worry is, I fear what the price increases will be for the members, given last season.
Yeah, there's some early kind of talk from the journos about that news is going to come in a few weeks. Expect increases there. As I assume you're getting a little bit giddy over extra revenue next year in terms of extra cup games, Champions League revenue, extra ticket revenue.
Let's get the Champions League first before we get giddy over things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I work in an industry where 5% increase is very standard, right? And if you look at the cost of, I don't know, Cadbury's Whisper, it's a lot more expensive than when I was a kid. Prices of stuff go up. 5%, I think, is pretty normal, reasonable. I think the other thing, because I always do some negotiations of these contracts and stuff, is that people always look at the increase rather than the actual cost itself. Some of the season tickets are decent value. Like, we're middle of the road in the Premier League. I think it's a seat in the Stretford End, etc., is decent value. I have, as you know, no issue with hospitality. Our company's got Arsenal tickets, and because of financial regulation, the clients often have to disclose, right, when we gift them, what the cost is. And I think they're like 1,400 quid a game or something ridiculous. And
Yeah.
and it's like, what? Because I've done it once. And it's like, you get a little bit of food and a drink or whatever. Really nice seats, like the padded seats. But I mean, that's the cost of our whole season ticket.
Yeah, that's the
Right?
other thing. The club are doing. They're moving another 600 fans from the south stand to create more of these hospitality seats. So
I've got no problem with that.
I have none. I prefer that. I would prefer we take money from hospitality to make sure the core support. I've always said I want the Stretford End affordable for the working class fan to make sure the atmosphere is kept up. But the
Why
south
can't common fans have seats in the south stand, especially if they've had it for 40, 50 years?
Because the south stand should be the corporate stand, so they can move to another place. But south stand, we want to make as much revenue as possible from corporate tickets, so that the average fan can keep, the average ticket, median ticket. We should be middle of the Premier League. I don't want to be like Arsenal and all these really expensive clubs. If we can keep those seats affordable with a 5% increase, which, everything's going up. Energy prices, like I said, the cost of a bar of chocolate sandwich. I'm sure your Rudy's pizza, Steve, isn't much cheaper than it is in London, because you always go on about, oh, Manchester's so cheap. I'm like, every time I visit and we go for a restaurant, I don't look at the menu and go, what a bargain. Wow. Oh my God. It's like isn't it still like 10 quid for a margarita and Rudy's or something?
You're not worried though,
it's not
like
cheap.
if that's the trend going forward, like every year. I mean, look, if Ineos are there for 10 years, we'll have the same prices as Barcelona, Real Madrid, guaranteed. Absolutely guaranteed.
Their prices keep going up as well. So this is the thing. As long as
no, but that's what I mean. Ineos eventually will catch up, especially if we consistently get Champions League as an example. They'll just keep racking up the prices, because if I gave up my season ticket, there's about 50 other people waiting for the ticket anyway, so they don't need my loyalty, right? So the trend for United, under Ineos in particular, is going to go higher and higher.
So their argument would be, in the capitalist model, which they are capitalists, is if someone else is going to buy your ticket, then it's worth it. Like someone else wants that price.
I want to know your argument, because we know what Ineos's argument is.
No, but in the system
you've
we
got
live
two,
in...
us, you've got two. Ultimately, you've got two. There's two lenses. There's a corporate lens, where it's obvious you could increase revenues, right? The demand is there.
Yeah, none of us is silly. We
that's
understand.
What I mean.
It.
So ultimately, that's what it is.
I've always said, as long as 50% of the stadium is affordable, which is the kit core support behind the goal, Stretford End, as long as that's affordable, I have no issue with what they charge for boxes, and if there's a bunch of like random like Chinese and Koreans that want to come.
However, I get that, but wouldn't you say if you could have a choice of keeping all tickets, let's just say keep the current hospitality and keep all the normal tickets at the current prices. If you could pick, right, you're looking at the revenues of the club and you're going to say, how much does increasing it by 5% bring in? 2 million, they estimate, right? You, as the person you are, would you not prefer to actually keep those tickets the same because of the fans that are currently in, and then just focus on other areas like commercial partners, TV revenue? Would you not just keep it because it doesn't make that much of a difference in the grand scheme?
Ideal world, yes, but it does make it. So again, I work in this kind of business that does this recurring revenue, and when you start compounding this 5% over a number of years, it does make a difference.
Oh, of course it does. Yeah,
of course it does. That's exactly why I brought it up, because if we keep doing annual 5%,
but you've got the thing is, every other club is doing the same. You've got to keep up. Like we aren't the most expensive. We're nowhere near the most.
No, that's a fair enough argument.
I think we're cheaper. Are we not cheaper than Liverpool as well?
Like,
maybe we are. But
we are
the trajectory, I'm worried about the trajectory. It's not about next season, right? Because like I said, it's 4 seasons.
As long as we are comparable to a Liverpool, for example, and cheaper than the Tottenham and an Arsenal, etc., right? And people go on about somehow like, all working class people in London are rich or something. They're not. There's rich people in London. There's poor people in London.
Yeah, but it's a bad example from Ratcliffe saying like Fulham.
There are poor people in the Hammersmith that live in council houses. They don't all support QPR.
Yeah,
right?
but that's not the point. The point is like.
It's essentialising Manchester as this poor, horrible industrial city.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Manchester is...
Scott believes that.
Steve will tell you Manchester, modern place, a place to live, with great...
No, Scott agrees with you. Remember, like, he was on the pod, he advocated for, like, these prizes. But... And we discussed this at Bilbao.
There's enough well-off Mancunians to take those tickets. So as long as, I said, the Stretford End, the core support, is protected to keep the atmosphere, because you need the atmosphere. If you lose the atmosphere, you lose what the essence of Old Trafford is. Right?
Steve, what's your opinion on all this?
I was going to say that's what you will lose if you keep the 5% up. There are people, let's be honest, like we know working class people, they don't have much disposable income, and Manchester United at the moment, £1,200 season ticket, that's £100 a month. Add on cup games next season, that's £200 a month. Add on travel, this starts becoming like £300, £400, £500. And for the working class fans there at the moment, some of them are probably already on the edge of affording. They're probably using credit cards to pay it. So you are going to slowly see that little drop off, and it's at what point is that drop off acceptable?
And I think that this is where, personally, there should be a wider regulation, because this is not a United-specific problem.
We've said this, right?
Poor, Newcastle, who we've just played, You can't tell me Newcastle's a richer city than Manchester, and I'm sure their prices went up by 5% as well. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Right. So like there should be a wider personal regulator. The way I think away tickets are capped at 30 quid, or
30,
is it
30?
Yeah.
There should be something
Steve,
that says that a proportion of the stadium is protected, a certain capped rate, the way away tickets are. But the rest of that stadium, these people in the South Stand, no. These are
Steve, I
premium
was going to
seats.
ask your opinion on this. Like, I totally disagree with us about like it should all be for the corporates in the South Stand. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, again, it's two lenses, right? So as a fan, like I said, I actually, as a leader, say if I was CEO of United, I would actually make a stand, because for the goodwill that you would get from the fan base, it's worth more than 2 million in revenue. And yeah, you could increase, have a model where it increases by 5%. But I think probably the more important factor is, yes, we can say recruitment's improved a little bit, but when you've had catastrophic results in the main over 2 and a bit years of you being in charge, with the whole, we won't say it again, but we will, Dan Ashworth, Ten Hag, Amorim, right? These are big mistakes you've made.
£37 million worth of compensation, by the way.
Exactly. 30 plus million compensation. Just be sensible. Just know your PR. Just know that saying
know your audience.
Yeah, saying these immigration comments aren't going to help. The ticket prices I get more from a business perspective, because it does help financially. But again, it's weighing that up as a lead and thinking, is the extra money worth it? And for me, 2 million on a club that generates almost £1 billion, it's not worth it. Just keep the fans on side. That's what I'd say. Yeah. So huge game, right, this Sunday against Villa. Like, we're level on points, so we could open up a 3-point cushion if we win. So yeah, probably the biggest team we could be playing in the league. So yeah, following that, we've got Bournemouth away a week later, and then we have a 3-week gap. So big 2 games coming up, as right, could really solidify this top 5 position potentially.
And then we go to the Bridge. That's a huge one. There's just big. Every game in the Premier League is just a big game. But when you look at that, you look at we've still got to play Villa, Chelsea, and Liverpool. They're the 3 in and around us.
Yeah.
Then there's a lot to play for still. I hope we can, like I said, sort the performance. I fancy us against Villa. I don't, like I said, when there's space in behind, I hope we can get the likes of Mbumo in behind. Bruno's great at playing those through balls. Bruno just spam 100 through balls in behind Villa. I feel fairly confident about that game, but they're a little bit of a bogey team. Emery will do something, I'm sure, but I feel confident.
This is where you need to get lucky. Being lucky is all right, right? In big games like this, you take being lucky over being
Carrick's
good.
had the luck that we talked about that Ruben didn't get.
Yeah. So, some big games coming up, in the end of season. The one in May against Liverpool, early May, it's not yet being moved for TV purposes. That could be a huge one to possibly secure our position and hopefully knock them out of the run-in. So, you're going to be coming to that game? I think Ron's up for it at Old Trafford in the summer. Hopefully a bit of sun. Maybe a Rudy's or maybe something else. We could target that game.
He was in the South Stand, so he's got to be
I
happy.
owe you one, don't I? I'll get you your meal.
Well, you're telling me like Rudy's is super cheap. Right? Manchester's so cheap, right? All you poor people can't afford anything.
Why don't you take him out to a Drake concert afterwards?
Honestly, you telling me? Honestly speaking, you've lived down south a lot, right? Lived most of your life down south.
Yeah.
When you go out to a restaurant in let's say Manchester versus down south, do you really feel the difference?
Not really, but it also depends what level of restaurant you're going to.
You're going to a Premier League level restaurant. Steve.
No. It's a nice restaurant.
I'm saying if you're going to mid-table,
if you're talking mid-table or
if
relegation,
you're talking mid-table, it's on par. If you're talking elite, London takes it to another level, and you always know that, right?
Okay, elite, but that's S tier, right?
Mid-table, not massively, but also things like housing, right? You get a box for what you get a house.
Thank
in
you.
Manchester.
We're literally living like poor people. We can't afford a decent space to live. You're living in a mansion, mate. You got loads of disposable income.
Steve, this is why we need to get Andy Mitten on the pod. We need to get Andy Mitten on the pod. He had an argument with Jim Ratcliffe about this subject, and like it's not going to be resolved because
London's
as King gets
literally
Scott.
like spending all our income on rent just to live in a little box. Yeah, you've got a nice little garden, front driveway. You can drive around. We're literally on the tube every day, paying £7 a day just to get into work.
Mate, it's
you
a
think I've
struggle
got
for all
any
of us.
income left to do anything else?
Our friend Donald's not made it any easier either, right? So we won't get into that.
I'll tell you what, I had to fuel the tank up a week ago, and now the prices have jumped 10p a litre. Good old petrol.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, well, football will keep us going. It's been a few weeks without a game because we weren't in the FA Cup. So looking forward to having United back. Let's hope we can get a good result. And yeah, huge game this weekend. So looking forward to seeing how we play and hopefully pull out a result and Skulls will be happy again. So
you're not going to launch a politics pod, by the way, Steve?
not yet. Yeah. So
what about F1?
Oh yeah, F1's back as well, isn't it? Cricket's done, Indy won. So yeah.
Yeah, it's not real cricket though, so it's fine. But yeah, at least the F1's back, so that will plug some of that gap in April.
Yeah. Cool. All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks for joining us on this podcast, and we'll catch you on the next one.